nam okay pala Baba nam okay pala Baba nam okay pala Baba nam okay pala Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Baba Nama Kepa Lam No Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nama Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nama Kepa Lam Baba Nam 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 Kepa Lam. Namaskar. Welcome to our class number 6. Today is already the 6th class in our storytelling program. And actually, every Monday we share 4 stories and 4 props. And I hope you can use these in your classrooms and share these ideas with your children. That is one hope. The second hope is that you learn to feel that storytelling can be a way of education. And I've been working on this storytelling schools. This is the latest edition, but it seems every few weeks I change edition. So, but anyway, this seems kind of I'm quite satisfied at this point, and it introduces a lot about the role of imagination. And let's say you want to be good in science, you need imagination. You want to be good in math, you need imagination. You want to have critical thinking, you need imagination. You want to have moral concepts and make moral values strong in your life, you need imagination. And if you have no imagination and you just have a lot of facts and a lot of information, maybe you can pass some tests, but to succeed in life and to develop a new direction in your life, you need the ability to visualize what you want to do. And so the idea of telling stories is that we, step by step, we are training the brain in a new way. And by telling stories and repeating stories, these stories create certain neurological brain paths which help children in their lives to make better decisions. And many times people say, well, imagination is just something for children. Actually, adults, we also use imagination in understanding what are other people thinking, what should I do today, what is my direction. We visualize our own existence. And if we have no dreams, if we cannot visualize, if we cannot imagine, our life becomes kind of sad, and we cannot also not help the world to make a better place. And I think a lot of, I hope at least in your heart, you have the idea that through your education, you can train children to work, to have the skills to make this place, the world, a better place. And especially in neo-humanist education, this is very much in our minds. And so the theory, and I hope you don't only learn the idea of storytelling, but you also learn why of the storytelling. And I just quote few, okay? So storytelling creates compassion. Storytelling lays the foundation for compassion. Means to say somebody who listens to stories, they develop the ability for empathy, they develop the sympathy, they have more connection with other people. So that is one benefit. The second point is, and this is maybe economics, does children who listen to stories when they grow up, they actually have better income. Okay, so the storytelling is not only good for personal balance, but also for success in the society. And so this can be an important part for, in the United Nations, they also talk about a lot about how education can make a better world, and so they also mention the importance of training the imagination. And if we want to have a better world, a different world, we need our children to have the ability to imagine a better world. And we hope that the next generation doesn't repeat what we do, that they can improve, that they have a different approach. And so they talk about the reinvention of education. In United Nations Education Department, UNESCO, and they made a report in they talk about the reinvention and 重新发明教学. So reinvention of education. Now, I think storytelling is a very good approach to reinvent education. I want just a few more quotes I want to give you. That understanding yourself is correlated with the capacity of imagination. So if a person has poor imagination, they also have very low self-awareness. And if a person has a rich imagination, they have higher self-understanding. And if you understand yourself better, you can live with other people much more smoothly. And you don't need to be impulsive, or you don't need to get irritated so quickly. You understand yourself, and then you understand others, and then relationships become much better. And so these are few quotes. So the storytelling has the ability to shape awareness, to shape how we see the world. Okay, so if we give children more and more stories, and when I was in the kindergarten, and even in elementary school classes, I would do maybe 3 or 4 stories every class. And so you can do a lot of storytelling. And then the rest of the time we do all the academics. Okay? Now, the last point I wanted to mention is social mobility. So if we want to give our students better opportunity to succeed in society, they need to have very good language skills. And people have done research on this, that if your language is limited, your chance for developing higher education or higher position in the workforce, these all become reduced. And so if you have limited language skills, it is more difficult to succeed in your career. If you have good language ability, means vocabulary, syntax, and then presentation structure, if you have these 3 abilities, you have many more opportunities to advance in society. So social mobility is also connected with our language skills. So an education which is rich in oral language, and this is another thing. Nowadays, sorry, I'm talking so much again, but these are important points. That nowadays our schools, they focus very much on reading and writing, and these people call these are the queens of our curriculum. And we always feel if somebody can read and write well, then this person can pass through the school system very well. Now, actually, the foundation for reading and writing is oral skills. So if a child is not given ample opportunity for expression, and like we do storytelling, we also want our children to be storytellers. So when they are storytelling, they develop the oral skills. And once the oral skills are well developed, their reading and writing will also develop better. And there is research on that, and it's very convincing that when children know how to tell a story, and then they are asked to write the story, they will write with much better vocabulary, much better syntax and structure. So these are scientific research. So actually, I should send everybody this one again. This is the latest updated, and it's better organized and more systematic. And maybe in future we can just talk about this one. But there also is a section on the role of the storytelling teacher. And because we we tell stories, whatever we think, what our values become very much the children's values. They affect the children very much. So the storyteller teacher actually has to comply with higher standards of their own thinking. So actually in our neo-humanist education, our requirement is actually teachers to do meditation. And this way they can learn to discipline their own minds and uh, generate positive energy in their own thoughts. If teachers don't do meditation, at least they should strictly follow moral code of not hurting others, speaking, being honest, authentic, not stealing, and these basic values. And so this is all there in this storytelling school handbook workbook. And I have hope actually because this approach to education is easily applicable anywhere in the world. It doesn't need any big investment like Montessori, or they need so many toys, or you need so many art materials. Actually, whatever your situation, you can be a storytelling teacher. And if you have that heart, and to inspire other schools to become storytelling schools, that's also a good possibility. So actually the opportunities are very vast. And so there is a lot about the science of storytelling and then the benefits. And I hope from these few weeks together online, you come to appreciate the role of storytelling. If we want to change the world, we have to tell stories. And so there is a saying, change the world story by story. And so you tell a story, you contribute to the benefit of society. You tell more stories, you can affect your children more, and there's more benefit for everybody. And so these ideas, I think, are important for everybody to understand. Why go through all this trouble? And, to make all these story props and then research storybooks and all that. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share first. And so I hope you see storytelling as a form of education. And then the neo-humanist approach is very much that from starting simple stories, we come to story analysis about, what are the social implications. And so last week we had a story about the Pied Piper. Then we talk about leadership. We have stories about greediness, and so selfishness in society, why some people are poor, some people are rich. And so these are issues we have to, this social awareness we can develop through stories with the children. And actually, for bigger children, storytelling is still important. And so it's not only something we do for small children. Yeah. So today we are going to do book 6. And so you'll see the whole progression. Actually, from book 1 to book 6, you see there's a lot of, there is a lot of learning going on. So it's a whole process. And the first story I want to tell you actually is a story from Indonesia. But Indonesia is so big, so I don't know if you know this story. And it is called Totomo. And this is Totomo. And Totomo lives in a small house in the forest, and she lives with her grandmother. Every morning, Totomo and grandmother, they walk to the river, and there they go to wash their hair. And when they finish washing their hair, Totomo puts a hairpin in her hair. And then they take a bucket and they fill the bucket with water and they go back to the house. And there, grandmother makes porridge. You remember? Porridge. So she makes porridge and she makes a bucket of porridge. And then grandmother says, Totomo, I'm going to the market to sell vegetables. Grandmother goes away. And the moment she goes away, there comes boom, boom, boom. Ho, 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 ho. Totomo, I am hungry. Ho, 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 ho. Totomo, I can smell you. Totomo, I want to eat you. There comes the giant. And the giant is going boom, 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 boom. And Totomo sees the giant, and Totomo says, "Oh, don't eat me. You can eat the porridge." And Totomo quickly goes inside the house, put the porridge is outside, and she closes the door. The giant looks at the bucket and says, "Ho, ho, 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 ho. Porridge. I like porridge." Takes the bucket and he finishes all the porridge. And he says, "Ho, ho, ho, ho. Now I am full." And boom, 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 boom. He goes home. Every day, early morning, Totomo and Grandma go to the river. They wash their hair, put a hairpin, then they take a bucket with water, they go home and they cook porridge. Grandma says, "I go to the market." The moment she is gone, boom, boom, there comes the giant. And the giant says, "Ho, ho, 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 ho. Totomo, I am hungry. Totomo, I can smell you. Totomo, I want to eat you." And Totomo says, "Oh, don't eat me. Eat the porridge." She put the porridge outside, goes inside the house, and closes the door. So every day is the same story. Now, one day, they went to the river, they washed their hair, they put a hairpin, they took the bucket with water, and Grandma said, "Totomo, today I only have porridge for the giant. I don't have porridge for you." And Totomo says, "Don't worry, Grandma, I can drink water." And that day, when Grandma went to the market, Totomo only drank water. All the porridge was for the giant. The next day, again, Grandma and Totomo, they went to the river, they washed their hair, they put a hairpin, and Grandma said, "Totomo, I'm sorry, business is not good. I only have porridge for the giant." And Totomo says, don't worry, Grandma, I can drink water." But that day, Totomo was a little hungry. The second day, she hadn't eaten at all. And the third day, when Grandmother again said, "Totomo, so sorry, business is not good. I only have porridge for..." And Totomo said, don't worry. But she was very, very hungry. And when Grandmother had gone, Totomo looked at the porridge in the bucket for the giant, and she said, "Oh, I take one spoon." And it felt so good. She took a second spoon, a third spoon, a fourth spoon. She took the whole bucket. She was so hungry. The boom, boom. "Totomo, ho, 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 ho. I am hungry. Ho, 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 ho. Totomo, I can smell you. I want to eat you." And Totomo was thinking what to do. There was no more porridge. She quickly put some sand in the bucket. She says, "Don't eat me, eat the porridge." She went in the house, closed the door, and the giant came boom, boom, boom. And he looked at the bucket. And he says, "Oh, it doesn't look like porridge." And he smelled It doesn't smell like porridge. And he picked up the bucket and he ate it and he spit it out. And he said, oh, it doesn't taste like porridge. And the giant is very angry. He says, Totomo, oh, you have cheated me, Totomo. I am angry. And boom, boom. He went to the house and with his big fist, he broke the roof of the house. Totomo was ready. Totomo had a bag and she was running. And the giant was going boom, boom, boom. And Totomo was going and he was running and running and running. And boom, boom, boom. He came closer and and boom, boom, boom. And boom, boom, boom. Came closer and closer and closer. And when the giant wanted to catch Totomo, Totomo opened her bag and she threw a stick at the giant. And that stick became a very big forest with so many trees. And the giant says, oh, Totomo, where are you? Totomo, there are so many trees. I cannot see you. And he was walking, Totomo, where are you? And Totomo was running. And the giant said, oh, where are you? Boom. And where are you, Totomo? Boom, boom. And Totomo was running and running and running, and the giant was coming closer and closer and closer. Again, he wanted to grab Totomo. But this time, she opened the bag, and out of the bag, she took a cucumber. And she threw the cucumber at the giant. And the cucumber became a big ocean of water. And the giant says, oh, Totomo, there's water. I cannot swim. Totomo, psh, psh, psh. Totomo, Totomo, what are you doing? And Totomo was running and running and running. And the giant was coming out of the water and said, Totomo, no, I'm very angry. Totomo, I want to catch you. And he was going, boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And it was coming closer and closer and closer and closer. And he was going to catch Totomo. She opened her bag. Out of her bag, she took a little chili. And she threw the chili at the giant. And the chili became a big fire. The giant said, oh, fire, I'm burning, I'm burning, I'm burning, I'm burning. And he tried to put out the fire, and Totomo was running, and the fire is burning and burning and burning. And he was running, and she was running, and he came out of the fire and went boom, boom, Totomo, now I'm very angry. He was going boom, 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 and boom, 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 and then he grabbed Totomo. I caught you. And he opened his mouth and swallowed the girl. And he said, oh, so good. And the giant lay down and went to sleep. Totomo was inside the giant's belly. She didn't like it in the belly. It was stinky. She was thinking, what can I do? Then she remembered she has her hairpin. She took her hairpin out and she pushed the giant's belly. And the giant jumped up and said, Totomo, what are you doing? And again, Totomo pushed the belly. Totomo, what are you doing? And again, he pushed and he pushed and he pushed and he pushed and he pushed. He pushed so hard that he pushed a hole in his belly. And the giant fell down. Just then, who came home? Grandma. Grandma saw the house was broken. Grandma saw there was a big forest. Grandma saw there was a big ocean of water. Grandma saw there was a fire. And Grandma said, but where is Totomo? And she walked around and she walked around, and then she saw the giant lying on the floor. And Totomo said, Grandma said, Totomo, where are you? Where are you? And Totomo said, I'm inside the belly. I'm here. Grandma couldn't hear. She said, "Where are you, Totomo? Where are you?" She said, "Inside the belly, Grandma. I'm inside the giant's belly." Grandma quickly got a pair of scissors, cut open the belly, and boom, 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 boom. Who came out? Totomo. Totomo and Grandma, they hugged and they hugged and hugged. They were so happy. They quickly went home, they fixed their house, and then they were so happy because there was no more bad giant. The end. Now, if you remember, and when we started our storytelling, we have, the very funny zoo. This is a cat, this is a dog. What's this cat, dog? And so we play and we play, and we have give it to me, and then is this my father? Baby circle. We have all these stories, and now you see we can tell a story for like 15 minutes. The children have patience. The children have listening ability. The children have imagination to understand what your words mean, so they can visualize the story in their minds. So with very simple props, you can tell the story, and the rest their imagination fills in. I saw a very interesting article. They were talking about toys, and they said, what are good toys for kids? And this man, he said, a good toy is 10% toy, 90% imagination. So he said, toys should not be complex. Toys should be simple. So let's say you give 2 blocks to a kid, and these 2 blocks, they can become a house, they can be a car, the blocks can be a tree, the blocks can be chairs, they can be tables. This is all imagination. So if you have very fancy toys, and like now you have so many fancy plastic toys, and you can actually make real tables or real cars or what, actually this man says a toy should be 10% toy, 90% imagination. And so once your children already have been trained, you don't need to give them so much visual stimulation. They should create the stories in their own minds. And if they can imagine, if they have been trained to do what we call story thinking, these children, they will use their imagination, in future when they learn math or when they learn do science or even chemistry. And we think about chemistry, we think about this abstract, these diagrams and all these things. The guy who invented the element table, the table of elements, the chemical elements, they're organized according to their number of electrons. He saw this in a dream. So he was thinking about it, and he couldn't find the answer. And then one day he was sleeping, and in the dream, he got the answer. And so in education now, people say, knowledge plus imagination means discovery. And knowledge plus imagination means discovery. And so imagination is very important for whatever other skills the children are going to learn later on in life. And the idea that we should train children from a young age to do academics at the cost of imagination, actually it is hurting the children's future. Not only hurt the children's future, society. If we cannot train children who have good imagination, they are not going to do anything amazing for the world. And so this is, okay, so this is Totomo. And so here, this is a story, and I don't know how you see, maybe from here we can actually make a very big lesson plan. And I sent you some songs, and one is of course the giant. We have to talk about the giant. So there is a song, giants are big and giants are strong. Their eyes are small, their noses are long. Giants eat people, oh yes, it's true. So you'd better be careful that they don't eat you. Giants are big, giants are strong, their eyes are small, their noses are long. Giants eat people, oh yes, it's true. So you better be careful that they don't eat you. Giants are big, giants are strong, their eyes are small, their noses are long. Giants eat people, oh yes, it's true. So you better be careful that they don't eat you. Yeah, so giants is a topic. Giants are very common in Western stories. And it's actually very few Asian stories have giants. And maybe, um, so it's interesting. This story is from Indonesia. I wonder, any of our Indonesian friends know this story or not. But anyway, it is, I think it's, I love this story, Totomo. And the children love this story. And why do they love it? Because they are all Totomos. And Totomo is actually in life danger. Her life is in danger. And so this is the most basic in what we call, in yoga, we call vritti, a propensity, our fear for our physical existence. And we can lose our friends, we can lose everything, but we don't want to lose our own life. And so this fear of losing our life is very deep and motivates a lot of our thoughts. And so children connect very much with this sentiment that, oh, she's in danger. What is she going to do? How is she going to survive? And of course, she has magic. And so she has the stick, the cucumber, and the chili pepper. So and the children they need magic to survive. And magic comes in many forms. For children's mind, actually, most things in the world are magic anyway. And so they don't understand too much about that. And so many of these stories, you find that the hero of the story always has some support of the universe. And there's always some angel or a little dwarf or elf or the godmother or the fairy mother. Somebody will come and save them. And I think many children look upon some adults in their life like this is their protector, their angel. And so children see that in the story, and then of course, grandmother. I think the grandmother in this story also plays a role of caring and giving Totomo a safe home, being a good friend. This story, there's no mother, there's no father. It's only grandmother and Totomo. It's a little bit, it has some similarity, like, I don't know if you remember the magic porridge pot, only one mother and one daughter and an old man. And so these are very nice story elements. Now, let's say you want to take the story further, and then let's say you want to talk about, the giant as somebody who is bullying or somebody who's taking advantage from the small and weak children. And so in society, you also have the big ones, you have the big, strong, and then you have the people who actually have less power. But you see in this story, the weaker ones, they win. It's a little bit like in Western culture, we have this David and Goliath. The Goliath was the giant, and then David was the small boy, and he had threw a stone, and the giant fell down. So the small conquers the big. So actually, this kind of story, it gives children. This can be like a hero, and in Chinese you say Oxiang. And Totomo is like a hero or heroine, and especially she's a girl. So this is a very nice story for children and for their character and for their personality. And there are many nice activities you can do with this. So one activity we did was a giant. Again, we talk about breakfast and porridge. And what time do you have breakfast? What time do you have lunch? And do you like sweet porridge? Do you like salty porridge? So these are all about eating, and in the book there are many ideas for that. Okay, so I think this is a very nice story, and paper puppets are easy and convenient, and you don't need very big resources for this. So I think this is a nice thing, Totomo. So we go to any questions about Totomo?
Yes, I want to ask a question.
Sorry, you wait. Why you so long? You are the boss.
From beginning, you already mentioned about the imagination.
Yeah.
So, how to increase the imagination if the teacher of the maybe the teacher or the mother is not much imagination? How how to teach the imagination to the children?
But then find somebody who has imagination. I think, Didi, this is a very good question because I think everybody has imagination. Maybe people are not so aware about it, and maybe people don't know how to use their own imagination. And so, my suggestion, and this is the beauty of this whole storytelling, the teacher grows. The more stories we tell the children, the more we grow as a person because we explore our own imagination. And as we make that journey and we see the changes in ourselves as a storytelling teacher, and then we also understand how to help the children to change. So imagination is something you can tap into and you can nurture. And we basically live in what people call left brain society. Okay, everything our thinking is very much left brain organized. Now, people say the future belongs to the right brain, means the people who have imagination. And so, if we want to make a better society, you need people with right brain powers. The left brain will follow the right brain. And so the rationality, keep a check on the imagination. But the imagination is, if it's trained in a positive way, and this is something I also mentioned in the storytelling school book. Some stories, they reinforce negative imagery, a negative imagination. And so let's say you have a story, and in that story, the image is the girl is not beautiful. And because she's not beautiful, the boy doesn't love her. Now the boy rejects the girl because she's not beautiful. Now this is a negative concept. And the story is more complicated than this. But the main point is that what the children learn is, oh, she was not beautiful, so the boy didn't marry that girl. And so that's why we have to, ourselves, we have to develop our own standards and understand we shouldn't, through our storytelling, we should not transfer prejudices or dogmas to our students. And so a storyteller has to be aware about the danger of teaching children this kind of prejudices. And so, but in general, imagination is positive and reinforcing, and most stories, well, there are many stories that also have problems. So that we can talk about later. But imagination is something, once you start using it, it will grow. And I think our generation, the problem is that that we are not trained to use our imagination. And actually, as meditators, we all know that visualization is very important part of meditation. If we cannot visualize, we cannot really realize, we cannot go deeper into our meditation practices and techniques. So the ability to visualize and to focus that visualization, and then it becomes a kind of a power. And so this, I think from our perspective, and as people who do meditation, and we want to promote neo-humanist education, we want to encourage children to explore their own identity. I think imagination is, at least in the first 10 years, should be the main focus, because everything is centered on imagination. So your morality, your logic, your language, your math, your science, all these things are connected actually to the ability to imagine. And and we have to develop ourselves. So don't worry, Didi, you have imagination.
Yeah, that's why I make more.
Yeah. But you know, it's like a muscle. If you don't use the muscle will slowly become weak. But once you use your muscles more, then the muscles grow in strength. So imagination is also, if you don't use imagination, and storytelling is a form of training. And so I don't know how you feel when I tell Totomo this story, but I am Totomo, I am the giant. So I imagine I am those characters. And now this before, when we tell the stories, or baby circle, or this or that, you don't need to be so involved. But you know, as your stories become more complex, you have to do more drama, you have to get more involved, you have to visualize the story more deeply. And that is very good exercise. So you are little bit, you know what we call in Mahat, you are in the story, but you're also above the story. I don't know if that makes sense. Emmy, do you understand what I mean? As a storyteller, you have to feel the story, but you also are the director. So you are kind of, you are the actor, but you're also the director. So the actor is in the story. You feel the story because you want to express that emotion. So you have to act the story. But at the same time, you have to be higher than the story. You have to manage. Now, what am I going to say next? Where are the children going to participate? Am I too slow or too fast? The director has to consider many things. The actor just acts a boom, 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 and Totomo's running, and then he comes boom. So you have to act the story. At the same time, you have to stand above the story. Now, in our yoga philosophy, we have names for that. So the actor is what the doer, the aham. And when you stand above that, you come to Mahat. So I think this kind of psychic skills are very close to our personal development. And so I think the way I see storytelling, it's the storytelling can solve all problems in the world. People who do bad things in life is because they didn't get stories when they were small. If you get stories, you cannot become a bad person.
I think so. I did not get enough story when I was small.
Didi, you maybe I don't know. Anyway, we have to think about the next generation, and their life is going to be a more psychic pressure. And the society now is moving more and more into the psychic level. And then, so from physical to psychic, and then psychic, we go to the psycho-spiritual. So society is changing, and the next generation will have more mental stress than our generation. So we have to help them from small, connect with them, their inner space, with their imagination. What people call this imagination. So this is you know, these 2 days we had training. Sorry, today maybe I cannot finish for stories, but I think these are good points. These 2 days we had teacher training here, and some teachers came from the Taipei big cities, and they told me the problem of the children. And the children, they are very much stuck in their logic, reasoning, and cynical. And so they hear a story like, I don't know if you remember Give It To Me, but there is a monkey, they're fighting over banana. And they say, oh, the bear, he cannot talk, monkeys cannot talk. The children will say these kind of things. The children are not children anymore. And now, from our point of view, if a child develops logical thinking too early and doesn't enjoy imagination and just play with the imagination, then this child, when they grow up, they encounter depression and those mental sadness and loneliness, and then become behavior problems. And so I know these things, but when I see the teachers and they're telling me, yeah, my students, they don't like this and they don't like that. And my suggestion to them is you have to help them find back the child, how to be a child. And maybe in Indonesia, because the environment is less urbanized, you have less problem. But I also see that they do a lot of online. So they also get very much influenced by all these things. And they lose. So online means you look outside. Storytelling means you look inside. And you go into your imagination means your attention goes within. And when the attention goes within, you find happiness. You find your own peace. But if you cannot find your inner peace and you always need your cell phone in your hand, or you have to go shopping somewhere, or you have to eat something, it becomes a kind of addiction because you cannot find your inner space. And so this is the problem this generation will face more than our generation. And I'm country boy. I grew up in the forest. Behind our house there were horses. Sometimes we take the carrots from my mother's kitchen and we go feed the horses from our hands and bring the apples to the horses. And we touch the horse's body, we stroke them, their sheep, their cows. Country boy. Nowadays everything is cell phone or iPad. Actually, I think what we are discussing, the storytelling, is to prevent mental disease. And 5 out of 5 children, that is normal, out of 5 kids, 1 will have mental problems in childhood. If this person gets support, it can help very much. But if there is no support for this child, then out of this child, 2 who have mental problem in childhood, 2 out of 2 of them, 1 will become criminal. Okay, so we go to jail. And out of 7 who have mental problem in childhood, 1 will commit suicide, actual suicide. And so we have to develop an education that is healing and that helps children reconnect to their inner person. Now, we usually, because we are doing meditation, so we say, okay, they should do meditation. It's not enough. You cannot do a whole day meditation. And you can, and children's meditation is different from adult meditation. The effect is different. So, but what we can do is we can tell stories. And through the stories, they develop that inner connection and that inner space, that visualization. And of course, they also should do meditation, but through stories, we reinforce that inner world. And I think this is so important. And as teachers, I think we have this responsibility. And because many of our teachers in this class in China, they are English teachers. Children with imagination, they have better language skills. And so we keep in mind that if children have good imagination and have good oral skills, they also will be better in reading and writing. Okay, so they can understand better what words mean because they can visualize the meaning. Now, I remember when I went to elementary school, and I never learned ABC when I was in kindergarten. Okay, my kindergarten only was playing in the sandbox, and then fighting with my classmates. And then my teachers were always angry. And my teachers were changing every 3 months because we were 40 kids and one teacher. So the teacher was going crazy with us, and so we had a nice sandbox, and. When my elementary school teacher, first grade, she wrote a word on the blackboard. And she said, "This is monkey." And I put up my hand and I said, "Teacher, a monkey," because she used ABC, right? And so she wrote monkey and said, "No, teacher, a monkey has eyes, a monkey has tail." My mind could not see the abstraction. My mind was totally in pictures as a child. And imagination. You know, my parents didn't give me many stories, but on the radio I would listen, their books. And so train the mind more in pictures and imagining, and then slowly bring them into this abstract, this logical, analytical. So that is priority. But if a child has good imagination, that child will become very capable in academics later on in life. And you see Einstein, sorry, talk so much. But these are important points, and I'm very happy the question. Einstein, I think he couldn't talk till he was 4 years old. And when he was in elementary school, his teacher said, you're not going to be anything amazing. You're just too foolish man. And Einstein, he became one of the greatest scientists in the human civilization. And so a child who is has more imagination. Of course, we should train academics, okay? But once they get the academic training plus their imaginative, that become discovery. So knowledge plus imagination becomes discovery. And I think this we should promote, and we should share, and we should try to practice. Sorry. Today 我们要加班了。I
have, when you talk about the childhood, I remember when I was young, when I was a kid, we used to play drama, you know, the countryside. And I feel the drama also very, how to say, creative, no? So when I was in Malaysia, when I was working there, we tell the story, and also that the children play the drama.
Yeah, I think drama is also part of storytelling. So I see storytelling so wider. For me, actually, art can also, you make a painting, it's a story. You do a dance, it's a story. So, but the core still is with the story concept. Yeah, thank you, Didi. Drama, all arts can connect to this story. Okay, so the next story I want to show is a little bit difficult for me because this is a puzzle. Okay, so and actually this is very nice. Some of you there maybe have seen the puzzle before. And so sorry. So there are pieces, and this story is about a king. And this king, he likes cheese. Now, one day, when we turn the puzzle piece, the king was not happy. And do you know why? So, Amy, why was it? What do you think?
Mouse.
That's right. In the palace, and this is the palace, there were so many mice. So the king had three friends, and he called his friends and he says, I don't like mice, they have to go away. And the friends said, don't worry, it's very easy. And they called the cats. All the mice went away, but the king was not happy. Do you know why? Because there were so many cats. So the king called his friends and he says, I don't like mice, I don't like cats either. They have to go away. Now the friends said, don't worry, it's so easy. It does the same action. Don't worry, it's so easy. And they called the dogs. All the cats went away, but the king was not happy. And do you know why? There were so many dogs. So he called his friends and he says, I don't like mice, I don't like cats, I don't like dogs either. They have to go away. And the friends said, don't worry, it's so easy. And they called the lions. All the dogs went away, but the king was not happy. And do you know why? There were so many lions in the palace. So he called his friends and he says, I don't like mice, I don't like cats, I don't like dogs, and I don't like lions either. They have to go away. And the friends said, don't worry, it's so easy. And they called the elephants. All the lions went away, but the king was not happy. And do you know why? There were so many elephants in the palace. So the king called his friends. He says, I don't like mice, I don't like cats, I don't like dogs, I don't like lions, I don't like elephants either. They have to go away. And the friends said, don't worry, it's so easy. Now what did they do? They caught one mouse. But the king was not happy. And do you know why? Now, so we talk with the kids, and then we tell that, okay, the king says, Mouse, you like cheese and I like cheese. We can be friends. We can talk about cheese. But you can eat some cheese. Before you eat my cheese, please wash your hands. And the mouse said, okay, I will wash my hands. And then the king was happy. Actually, this prop is very nice, and I'm very sorry you cannot see it properly. And so you put all the pieces on the floor, and then you turn over one, and then becomes the elephant, and then this one. I will make a picture and send to the chat group, okay? So I will make picture for both sides. If you want, you can make it. This is a very nice prop. And so you you can turn the pieces and tell the story. And so here, from the language side, and we have still repetition, but there is, the prop is very simple, and so the repetition is there, and that is important for reinforcing the language. And then the concept is still quite simple this time. So here, for me, the main target is the king was not happy. And then why? There were so many, whatever. And so was and were, this is our language target. I think today we only do 2 stories. The next week I have to do the other 2 stories. Emmy is okay? And because I don't want to keep you for too long. And I think we already discussed many good things. Anybody, any questions? I really hope you can see storytelling is a form of education and mind training. And through storytelling, we can actually prepare children better for the world and whatever they want to do in their life. In this book now, I also added a developmental psychology. And so I explain the different layers of the mind and how story concepts connect to and stimulate different parts of our minds. And so it's not only knowledge levels, it's also creativity, intuition, and morality. And so these concepts actually, I think, can help us convince ourselves more. I don't know, anybody, any question?
Mr. Tang,
Hi.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How to continue nurture our imagination as adults?
Well, I think you have to practice. So, like this King and the Cheese, this is a story that this is the traditional story, but you think, how can I make a prop? And then so you imagine and how you can do it in the classroom with the children, and so you keep on challenging yourself, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think one big obstacle for people that they fear to do something wrong, and because imagination means you let logic kind of take a back seat, and you develop something that is not yet done by other people. And so you have to trust the process, and you have to trust that as you create something that you know that maybe it will be successful, maybe not. It's not the main point. You just trust yourself. And sometimes I just spend 2 hours making something, it doesn't work, and I throw it away. And then, but I know sometimes it comes out very beautifully. So I think you just have to trust that creative process. And so you get the paper, you get your paint, you have a kind of plan of what you want to do, but you don't know how it's going to work out. And you have to trust that it will work out somehow. And I think it's a very important part of being a teacher, to be creative and let grow with your own imagination. Yeah, so there's not one single answer, but I think as you try to be more playful in your teaching and creative in your teaching, you learn to trust your own creativity more. And when you trust creativity, that is how we say it. You also can say you have to trust that, that the synergy, people talk about synergy. So let's say, many times I go to a school and I don't know the kids, okay? So they give me 2 hours and I have 150 kids, and I don't know their language level, I don't know their interest, and so I prepare many things, and I have to prepare. So creativity requires work, and then I go there, and I have no clear plan what we are going to do. But I trust that whatever we are going to do is going to be good. And so we sing the songs, and then we tell the story, and then we talk. And when we talk, you never know what they are going to say or not going to say. And then we do some art project. So you have already something lined up, but you don't know how it's going to work out. And so then you learn to trust more and more and more. And so this is something you develop, and you have to just go with the flow and stay connected to your own positive energy, to your inner, that love feeling that you feel everything is divinely organized, and when you have that sweetness in the heart, and
Okay, thank you.
it is a way of storytelling. Teaching is you have to be very flexible. So sometimes I bring 10 stories to the class, and I do only 2. And sometimes you can do much more. So you have to be very much in tune with the children. In education, this is called emergent teaching. EMERGENT. Emergent. So you go to the class, you connect the feeling with the children, and then you use that energy to make your activities.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it will come with time. Yeah, so like, for example, when I give workshop, I never use PowerPoints, because a PowerPoint already has a structure. This is what's going to happen in the class, and actually, this way you force the audience to follow your structure. And I think it's good for a teacher to follow the audience. What is the interest? What is their ability? And how much attention can they give to theory? And so like this kind of online teaching you're kind of disconnected from people. But when you have a real life audience, you really are together, and you create an event. And of course, you have your things ready, and when the time comes, then you bring them out. And then it connects very well. And so then class becomes very happy. Sorry, talk too much. Any other questions? These very good points. And so creativity is nothing alien. Everybody has it. You just have to give it more attention and trust it. Open the door. And
Can I ask question?
yeah.
Each like Didi Sweda was asking is play drama is more interactive with the children than only when do story they listening, maybe the imagination, but in drama they play themselves. So which one is need to implementing more with the children?
But the way we do it, we do drama every week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we do the story review, and Friday we do the drama. So when the children have internalized the story, then they are ready for the drama. So to do the drama, you have to help the children know the story. So it takes few classes for them to analyze the character, to understand the location, to understand the time, to understand the sequence of the story. And once they have that clear, then we do the drama. We do drama, Didi. We sing the story. They play the story, and we call this story theater. So this, we don't ask them to memorize. We just ask whatever they can say, they say. What they cannot say, their classmates will say, or the teacher will say. We call story theater. So it is also freestyle. And so there, yeah, you're right. It's very interactive.
So mean that after we telling the story and ask them to performing the drama.
Yeah. So but you need to give them time to learn to remember the drama.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So drama is very big, much part of this storytelling. And so, for example, in English classes, children can read. And so, for example, book 6, but this book which we use, and these children, they have already learned English for 3 years. So here we have the role play in the book. And so the role play is there, and then Totomo, and then this is the grandmother, and whoever, they have a conversation. And so the story in the book already is like what we call reader's theater. So the roles are already explained. So children are already, they can read and also play the drama. And that is called reader's theater. And story theater, there's no reading. And now there's another form. So for example, children know the story, and then we also have this one. This one actually is very nice. This is Kamishibai. So here is like a small theater, and inside we have cards. Okay, so yeah. This is card number 1. Now, so let's say your children want to tell the story, but maybe they don't know the story very well. So then they can look at the back side, and there are the words of the story. So they can, this is also a form of story reading, but also storytelling, because it's like still there is a drama, there is action. And so then they put the second card, they take out the first card, and then they read the second card. And now let's say children, they are capable, they can write and draw their own story. And so, but these activities, and so for example, now in China, we are going to have this parents and activity, parents and kids. So the teachers will bring their kids. We are going to make stories like this. And so we'll give paper to the kids and the parents and the teachers, and then together they will make a story, and then they will write the story, and they're going to perform the story. But this needs, it needs training. So what I wanted to show you with these few classes is that you have to start from the basics, and from small age you develop their confidence to express, and to the language skills, and there are certain skills they have to apply. And I think it's very nice. Once, and you will see next week the other stories which we didn't finish today. They are very different, and there's a lot of action, a lot of drama. So this, I feel, I so much have hope that once children can learn to express a story, then they can do speech making. And so from storytelling, they learn to tell stories, and it goes on for several years. And then when they are more into their logical thinking, they are going to make speeches. So they will get a topic, and within 10 minutes they have to talk for 3 minutes about the topic. And then you have somebody who is confident, can express, has opinions, and this kind of person can be a leader. It can be a leader whether in the family, or whether in the school, or in the community. These are people who can imagine solutions, and who can have the skill to express the solutions and share them with the audience. And I think this is very much what we want to do with our education. And these children are going to be successful in society. Sorry, I take much time, but I think this is very good sharing. Any more questions? Any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Are you
Thank
still
you.
there? Yeah. Okay, so then we finish for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, only 2 stories.
Yeah, thank you.
Next week.
Namaskar.
Yeah, Didi, thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.